Hi everyone, quick update today because honestly markets did not do a whole lot. You can see we held some support in here, allowed these to kind of consolidate, momentum slightly bullish, but let's take a look at some of the charts and see if it gives us any more information as we head into the end of the week.
Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started.
Quick look at fear and greed. We finished at a 32, down a little bit to a 35, back to extreme fear on momentum across the board here on all the major indicators. Put call ratio spiked a little bit to fear, volatility neutral, flat on the day makes sense. Really not a lot of movement on these indicators. Looking at the economic calendar, continuing jobless claims continue to hold steady. 30-year bond auction almost at 5%, makes sense with where the 10-year is at. And then looking at tomorrow, you have initial jobless claims. I think this is going to be a little interesting. There were still some options for tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see what the markets do tomorrow. And then looking at Friday, all of that unemployment data, Michigan data. The big one is the unemployment rate. I think that's going to be concerning. So far, the jobs data has been okay, not super great. But if we miss to the upside here on the unemployment rate, that's going to be catastrophic. And then moving over to the charts here, you can see just a very slightly positive day, 86 cents on the S&Ps, and it's given pretty much all of that back after hours. Here you can see unchanged from the previous day after hours. Momentum flattened out, RSI flattened out. You can see the trend support, the level here, 585.91. Touched that level and then bounced from there, almost touched it a couple times, but really just one touch and then bounced. So for now, the trend structure is still holding, waiting to see if it breaks down or not. No change to yesterday's thesis. And then looking at the 4-hour chart here, you can see a bunch of wicks. Second ATR band was holding there at 586.13, still below the 8 EMA. And then looking at the hourly chart, still bearish conditions in the middle of the range here. Lowest ATR band would be your near-term target at 582.50. Moving over to the NASDAQ here, you can see again, basically flat, 9 cents, gave all of that back after hours, down about 75 cents after hours. Still holding at the key level. It did close above it, 514.92. It's below it after hours. You can see that here. Momentum flat, really choppy action. Trend support held on every one of these candles here. So again, no change to the thesis. Touched the trends, caught a bounce. Daily candle close was good. Hourly, not as good. And then moving over to the Tasty charts here on the 4-hour, you can see we did flip into bearish conditions just barely. The 8 EMA was your resistance there at 516.09. Couple of touches in there and then sold. Big wicks to the downside, not a ton of volume. Momentum still bearish here. ATR trailing stop is now at 525.93. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow. Russell was negative on the day, about 0.5%. Again, closed above the level, 221.49. After hours, just a little bit below it. Momentum still going to the upside. RSI still above the SMA, nothing crazy. Same thesis. We've been in the same trading range since mid-December at this point for the Russell, just big wicks in both directions. And then looking at the Dow, positive on the day, 80 cents. Closed below the level though, 426.20. If you can even call it a level at this point. We've been chopping on top of it for a while here. So take it with a grain of salt. The real level's probably in here. We still technically haven't gotten the gap fill back to 5 November, which is interesting, but again, if we can hold the level on a closing basis and then start to push to the next one, that's what you're looking for. If it breaks down from 426.20, your next support is that 418.38 level. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft, both of these turned a small profit, 0.2 and 0.5%. Microsoft actually looking a little better there. Again, both of them are falling after hours, nothing crazy. Momentum on Microsoft swinging to bullish, still not stepping to bullish on Apple quite yet. RSIs both look a little negative, but we're going to probably touch that SMA here on Microsoft within the next day or two, and then we'll see what happens from there. At this point, this trend on Microsoft looks pretty decent, and if this does kind of swing up through that 429 level, I could see a push to the 21 EMA there at 436. Pretty good trading here, honestly. If he holds this level and pushes up, it's about a 2 to 3% potential move. Looking at Tesla and NVDA, Tesla was just barely positive, 50 cents, so basically unchanged. Again, still at the trend, still holding the same structure we talked about yesterday. NVIDIA, unchanged on the day, down just 3 cents. Momentum stepping down, RSI right at the SMA. That's the critical level here, waiting to see what happens right here. If it holds this, you're in good shape. If it breaks down from there, we're probably going all the way back down to the 130 area. Have a series of higher lows and higher highs, waiting to see if this higher low holds in here or not. Moving over to staples and discretionary. Staples finally catching a bid just a little bit. It's turning positive, just 14 cents. After hours though, it's above the 77.50 level. Interesting here. So if it holds this and pushes, it's very oversold. Even a moderate retracement would give you a couple of percentage points, 3 to maybe 4% in here, I think makes sense. It's really oversold, honestly. The structure is terrible for sure. We're well below all the EMAs and SMAs on a medium basis. So You would still expect a lower high in here, but in terms of a relief rally, I think you're probably due for one in staples. And then discretionary is still holding the same structure, right in the same region here. Potential double bottom, still below the 21. My guess is we rally up, hit the 21, and then sell from there. Moving over to 20 and 50-day breadth, both of these are positive, 20% and 5% respectively. Breadth continues to look pretty decent, continuing to regain some bullish momentum. This is partly why I don't think markets are going to crater, even with the bearish after hours price action. I just don't think there was a ton of volume. I don't think there was a ton of conviction. We're pretty low here. I still think we'll probably get a lower high, but in the short term, I would say there's a little bit more bullishness to be had. Moving over to the dollar, dollar is positive 0.3%, right to this wick here, pretty much in line with the expectation. Closed right on top of the trend line. You can see we're right there at it. Didn't quite hit 109, so maybe this is a slightly lower high here from this previous high. Interesting, maybe. The RSI does kind of look that way, breakdown retest potential, and then maybe sell from there. Nothing I would get in the way of. Everything on the dollar still says super bullish to me, but just a little bit of hesitation short of the level. Moving over to bonds. Bonds actually caught a little bit of a bullish move here. 0.1% on JNK, overthrew this trend line, closed well above it. Momentum still bullish there. And then look at TLT. Big down move, overthrew the low, closed above the level at 85.90. The close was 86.03. After hours were a little bit below it, but momentum continues to hold here. RSI is basically flat with lower price action from this previous dip here, so I think maybe this is the level 85.90 potentially. I would be patient still. Want to see a little bit of confirmation in the next day or two here. Either way, I'm still nibbling at bonds in this zone. I think this is a good medium-term buy price. If you're a short-term trader, probably more patience to be had. If you're a medium-term investor, probably a good time to be buying. Moving over to the VIX, you can see yesterday we had an up day, came into this zone, threw a big wick here today, closed below it. So still finding resistance in the same area. We've been here for a couple of days now. Really no change to the thesis. Momentum is slightly bullish, RSI slightly bearish, so still mixed signals, makes sense why markets are still sideways choppy. Moving over to my accounts, you can see obviously I lost a little bit of money. I did fine during the session, but then this after hours price action has taken it out of me here. So you can see it's down $1 after hours. So on 200 shares, that's $200. And you can see the net negative there is right at $200. So I had made money on the session, but in the after hours price action, you can see that fluctuation. And then looking at the Russell, same thesis there. After hours, down about 50 cents. So nearly half of the loss there is in the after hours. So again, still holding in the same zone. I did roll around these positions a little bit. I thought we might see a rally through in the afternoon, almost towards the close there, but then we ended up giving that all back and closing nearly unchanged on both of these. So for right now, still holding the covered call, and as long as we hold this consolidation area. Let me know down in the comment section what you thought of the markets today. Slow markets, not really changing the thesis, but did you see anything that was interesting? Let me know. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.